Welcome back to another abandoned Skyline build video. Last time we did the panel bond on the rear quarters. Both those are done. Today I'm gonna be molding them to the car. As you can tell here, we've got this one pretty much all the way done. I went ahead and did this one all off camera so I can learn the process, learn how to do it, but this side is absolutely horrible. And then there is rust that we need to address on this quarter panel. So we're gonna work on getting this one 100% and finishing it in today's video. And then I have to show you the color. It's kind of embarrassing. The paint that I'm using is this metal cast duplicolor paint, and I don't know how I feel doing spray can on this anymore. It's theoretically cheaper, but the paint that I want to get is actually on sale right now. If I were to spray this myself, I have no clue how to do that, but I do have a paint booth that I can bring this car to. But if I were to do it myself, the base coat paint that I would need was about $700, $800, and it's on sale for about $500. So I'm debating on just doing that because I would need probably 30 cans of just this, which is already about $450, not including primer, not including a black base coat or a gray base coat, which I still have to do the same thing if I do the actual legit paint, but it's coming out to be about the same price, if not a little bit more expensive if I were to properly paint this car. And the red that I want to use, it just looks so beautiful, so good, and I'm kind of on the fence with the spray can. I know I can make a really good quality paint job with it, but with how far I'm going on this, I mean, the rear window's out, I'm sanding all this back, cleaning all this whole area up, fixing the rust. I almost feel like I should do this proper and do an actual legit paint job, not with spray cans. Anyway, that's enough talking. We should probably go ahead and get started on the other quarter panel. So it's good. So I've been working on getting this down to bare metal just so I can see how bad the rust is, and it looks like the quarter panel may have been replaced at some point because there is a rust line that goes pretty much straight across here, and it's not as even or flush with this side. So either this got hit sometime here, which they just did a bunch of body filler to kind of fix it, or this is a replacement quarter panel, which explains why there's rust all the way across, and then there's rust over here on this side, because that side looks really, really good. So I'm really curious to see and know kind of like what they did. I mean, there might be a cut line there from when it was replaced. I'm not entirely sure. I could just be making all this up, but it's weird that there is kind of a straight dent all the way across, and it's just, you know, not perfect at all. So I'm gonna do my best to make it as even and as smooth as possible. And I'm just gonna try to get rid of any of the rust that's on here. I got most of it off, so we're looking okay. The hardest part's gonna be getting in this little crevice right here, and then same thing for over here. And then I'll probably spray a rust remover or rust restore on top of it, and then do body filler with the fiberglass Bondo. Sure where I left off in this video, so let me give you a quick little update. There's a whole lot of stuff that I've been doing off camera, but I can't remember exactly what that is. There's not a lot of room over there to show anything on camera, so I've been kind of going back and forth between the two, and I've got this pretty much all the way molded, and it's pretty good with no seams, but there is some pinholes that are right here. It's not really flush and even here, so there's some more sanding that I have to do to make all this flat and even. But this side's turning out really, really good. As you can tell back here, I did spray some primer where the Bondo or the fiberglass filler was at. So there is some primer here that I just need to sand. It's a little rough in certain areas, But I need to go through, sand that smooth, and just make sure everything looks good. And then I started sanding the entire car. So the roof is about 90% sanded. I've got to go to this side over there and sand it as well. And then there's a few dents that I have to fix. So I'm debating on popping the headliner down and then coming back through the backside with a PDR tool so I can try to get that out without filling it. Basically, I don't want to do a whole lot of Bondo. I don't want to do a whole lot of filler or anything. I would like to actually make that flush by popping the metal up. So headliner's gonna have to come off to do that. Along with a good 90% of the interior, because as you can tell, it's covered in a lot of dust. I mean, it is absolutely filthy. I can draw a smiley face right there. It's horrible. And that's fine because there's no windows back here, but I do need to start pulling everything out of here so I can have access to removing this, removing the mirror, a couple of other things that I have to do. But a good portion of this side of the car has been sanded, so that looks good. It's currently 12:07, which means it's pretty late, and I have to pull the BMW into the garage, which is gonna suck because my neighbors are probably already asleep. I'm sorry, neighbors. It's gonna be really, really loud, so forgive me. Hopefully you don't get pissed off. But let me show you where we're at on the Skyline. So on the driver's side of the quarter panel with the pillar here, there was a bunch of filler that I had to sand flat and try to make this as smooth and even as possible, which I feel like I did a really, really good job. I do want to go ahead and put this filler primer on it and then sand it again, so that should make it all one even layer, because there is a little bit of waviness to it. There's a few high and low spots. I can actually feel them. The main stuff is right here where it's bare metal. That's a little bit sanded too far, but I did my best to make it as even as possible. And then there is a spot right here that I need to get like glazing putty or spot putty or whatever it's called and fill in that area. But overall, this side is great considering there was rust here and all throughout here and down here. And now it is all one smooth finished piece and I can't even feel it. So that's amazing, that's awesome. Down here, there was a really, really bad rust all throughout this area. I sanded it as much as possible, and then I got this rust reformer stuff on top of it, so that should help and keep it from rusting again, at least on this top section. There was never sealer here because this panel, again, was replaced, and they forgot to do sealer, which you can see it right here on this side. That is what this whole piece is, and I don't know why they forgot to do it, but they did. And underneath, it's still really, really rusted, and I'll get to that at some point. I'm just going to grind it down as much as possible and then probably go back with filler and then the rust reformer on top of it, and that should hopefully help to keep this whole piece from rusting onto this and ruining the beautiful paint that I'm going to put on this car. Now coming to this side, I did the exact same thing. This had some body work that needed to be done to it. It's still a little bit rough in certain areas. Oh no, just kidding, that's just dried dust on it. So this is actually really, really smooth, and the filler goes all the way up to here to kind of blend everything in, and it's also pretty flat. There's a little bit of a high spot right here going into this area, so we'll have to do again the filler and then sand all that back as well, and this side should be done. Now the next time you see me working on this car, I'm actually going to be pulling the entire interior out except for the driver's seat, the dash, and maybe a few other things, but the headliner's coming off, the back seat, the passenger seat. We're gonna get rid of everything that's in there so I can, one, stop making it that dusty, but two, actually take the mirror off on both sides because I need to be able to sand those. I need to sand underneath it. I also have to take this trim piece off as well. So everything just has to get removed so I have access to everything on there. and then we can finish sanding majority of the car, and then work on the front end right here, which again, this is gonna be a whole separate video because I'm debating on doing forged carbon on this. And then this is just gonna get filler to make it all one even layer and smooth. And then we'll sand that back and paint that red as well. This side's mostly sanded. The roof is 100% sanded, well, 90% sanded. I have to get this line throughout the entire piece, but overall this is good. But yeah, that's pretty much gonna be it for today's video. It's kind of a long one. It may go into 2 parts, maybe 1 part, I'm not entirely sure. It's a very long, tedious process, and I'm trying to make it as perfect as possible because it's my first ever paint job and bodywork and just really diving this far into a car, and I want to learn as much as possible, and I don't want it to be half-assed, so I'm really trying here. Hopefully you guys like the content, hopefully you guys like what I'm doing. If you do, leave a thumbs up, comment down below letting me know, and if you don't like it, also let me know, because I can switch it up and try to do something else, maybe bring back skateboard stuff. That never really did well, but I can try. But yeah, that's gonna be it, so thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Stay awesome. Later.